Welcome back to Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Today's episode, powered by Hayabusa, is about 5 footwork mistakes that people tend to make. All right, in today's episode, we're gonna talk about 5 mistakes people make when doing footwork drills and stepping, right? I'm very particular with my footwork. Everything is about inches and detail and perfection. And you'll even notice, even stepping off 1 inch incorrectly will make big impact on the technique and the power that you're going to get. Ultimately, when you're working single strike things and working your kick to develop power or your punches, you need to find one, stepping the right way to generate power that lets you turn your hips to generate power, weight transfer. So there's a lot of things to think about. So when I watch pad work on Instagram or on YouTube or even pre-fight stuff, these are the subtle things that I tend to look at, and this will kind of gauge to me what kind of experience this person is, all right? So let me get into the first one, and this one, my curriculum drives me nuts because right from the beginning, I teach this, and it's very important to me. So the first don't, okay? I'm gonna call it a don't. Do not step heel to toe, okay? So that means stepping heel to toe. Okay, that just shows to me a lack of control of your stepping. You want to be engaged on the balls of your feet, right? So I can bounce and move. If I'm heel toe stepping, to me, it shows that you're not stepping properly. So you'll notice the big difference. A lot of times when even advanced fighters, what happens is when they go to their opposite stance, and I picked this up on myself thinking when I went southpaw, my footwork was good, but I noticed that I tend to heel toe step on my southpaw position. So that's been some of my footwork training that I do on my opposite stance. So sometimes just film yourself to watch for that heel toe step when you do your drilling, when you do your stepping. That's why even with all the floor drills that I do, you're making sure you're stepping over on the balls of the feet, not heel toe, okay? Now, the one time I might say the heel toe can be okay, and that's when I say it's the inside knee. When you're going in for the knees, that's when you see it the most. But if you're heel toe stepping to kick or heel toe stepping to punch, to me, it's a big don't, it's a big mistake, and you're just not getting the cleanliness and that perfection in the footwork that we're looking at. Now, the second mistake that I see when it comes to footwork, and this is important for generating power, it's not using your calves. And you would think it's crazy that, in kickboxing that the calves aren't engaged in all your strikes. So that is one of the big mistakes I make. So when people are punching, right, or throwing their power kicks, they're keeping their heel on the floor. If your heel is on the floor, at this point now, you can't really turn your hip, you can't get that power coming over, and it's just really bad on you to want to kick and not get that hip over. So getting on the balls of your feet is just gonna help you, one, transfer more power from the ground, right? When it comes from the ground, it needs to pass through that calf. So if you're missing that calf moment, there's a little bit of power that's being leaked, right? So even when you're stepping forward, right, it's not a step with the lead foot. It's a push off the back calf, right? So that's what I'm saying. You're not using your calves. Whether you're not pushing off from the rear calf, or when you're doing your kicks, you're not getting up on the calf, or you're front kicking a lot with your plant heel down, that is the problem. So pay close attention to your engagement of the calf, pushing off the back foot, even when throwing a kick. Yes, I want you on the calf of the plant foot, but in order to get on that plant calf, I need to push off the rear. So using and engaging calves are really important. That's why when you see me do my warm-ups here, or if you're part of bazookatraining.com, all of my warm-ups have some sort of calf activation, because this way now you're able to sustain your weight and you're thinking now to be on the balls of the feet. When we teach pendulum bouncing, we're not on the heels, right? We're on our toes. We can blitz faster, get in, get out, create more angles, right? Get more power in your strikes. So paying close attention to calf work is very, very important. Now, one of the other things that I'm very particular on, and it's called the power line, right? If I'm throwing combinations, right, I need to be able to throw each strike, getting more momentum and getting more power as we go. If my footwork is off during a combination, right, I lose power and I'm gonna be put in a bad situation. The first strike might be good, the second one becomes crappier than the third, and it just becomes a snowball effect. The first strike has to be perfect to be good for the second, to the third, to the fourth. So pay attention to the floor. That is the most important part, and this is what I call the power line. Now, when I'm throwing a combination, right, I want to make sure I end up in the position where I get the most power. So if I'm stepping one way and then I step the wrong way to kick and then I try to follow, my footwork pattern is going in a zigzag. I'm stepping, then I step the wrong way to kick, then I want to get power. So I call it a zigzag. We don't want the power going this way. If I'm throwing a combination, see how I kind of slowly edge my way this way, I'm outside of my power and I can get my weight behind the strike. So understanding the power line, right, and in combination is just going to help you generate more power. And then at the end of the combination, you'll notice you're in a more stable position to be able to block, to be able to defend, to be able to counter, because your footwork is strong, you're not falling all over the place. If you're mid-combination, right, when I say your feet are here, if I'm throwing a round kick and I'm stepping here to trying to kick here, I'm off balance, right? But if I step out and I kick, now all of a sudden I'm in a more advantageous position, right? I'm in a stronger structural position to be able to fight back and to counter, okay? So understanding the power line, right, with single strikes and in combination is very, very important. And if you're zigzagging, it's the big mistake that I do not want you to do. Okay, another big mistake, and this is number 4, it's having this beautiful combination and then stopping, right? You're not developing an exit, and this is what the 4th mistake is when it comes to footwork. Me personally, I believe a lot of time it's the coach's fault from the beginning of the training. Now, even when you're doing pad work should not be stationary. So if I'm throwing a combination, boom, and I stop now, and my pad holder doesn't force me to move to generate space, right? It's creating the bad habit of kicking and falling down, stopping, or punching and waiting, right? That's a bad habit. That's how you get hit. That's how you get countered. So right from the beginning of your training, you have to build in exits. Whether you're shadow boxing, right? I'm feinting, right? Boom, 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 hit. I create an angle on my exit, right? So I'm moving in and then I'm moving out. So I'm able to do that because I understand and I've built in exits to my system, to my style, right? So that's very important, from pad work to sparring to drills, to be able to make sure you move your feet on the exit. The biggest example I give is off of round kicks. If I throw a round kick, boom, and I just fall my foot here, easy for punch counters. But now, on my return, I'm building in the exit, right? I kick, I bring my foot back, and now look, I've created so much range, so much distance, and now I've built in safe defense, safe range control. So at this point now, I've built in good footwork habits, good distance control, and this is why not building in an exit is a big, big, big mistake. Okay, the 5th and final footwork mistakes that I tend to see with beginners and even a lot of professionals. This one's a little bit more advanced thinking, but it's always entering now, right? I just talked about exit. It's entering the same way. Predictable entering. So what could that mean? It means, 1, people tend to favor circling the one way, right? So right away, that's one mistake, right? You're being predictable in the way you circle. So when you attack, it's very easy for your opponent to understand where you're going to be, so they can kind of anticipate strikes. You walk into them, it's more damage for them. So first thing you need to do is circle different ways. So I just talked about exiting. Now, one time exit this way, come out. Next time I exit out this way. This is where my triangle step and built into my system works really well, because it's very unpredictable in which direction you're gonna go, so you can't be timed and you can't be set up into traps. Okay, the other higher level concept, it's called turning. So every time I enter, I don't want to enter on a straight line. So before I enter, see how I take a quick angle, or I'm jabbing, and now I attack when I'm on the angle. So that's what it means, entering on angles. I can enter on a straight line, I can enter on an angle this way, or I can enter on the right side. So I've created different angles of entry, right? That's the point. And I'm gonna be predictable how I do it. That's the key, right? So I gave you 5 footwork tips. 1, they're tips. 2, they're mistakes that you're making. The only way you're really gonna know you're making these mistakes is you have to film yourself. The heel-toe stepping, I'm telling you, you think you're doing it right, but you're not doing it all the time. So figure that out, okay? Now, there's some other footwork mistakes that I can build in, right, when I'm talking about power line, right? It's turning the foot over to get the hip involved. There's so many ones that I could have added, but I feel these 5 are not talked about as much, and that's why it's important. Use your calves, good stepping in your combination. Don't zigzag, you're losing way too much power, and ultimately build in a good enter and a good exit. That's what high-level footwork is about, is making sure you don't do these 5 mistakes and fix them within your training. All right, so I hope you enjoyed today's episode. First off, we got to give shout outs to Hayabusa and Going to Hayabusa Fight for all of the gear that you see in the videos, as well as Perfect Sports Nutrition, as they hook us up with all of our sponsor stuff, and their description's linked below. Bazooka 20 to get 20% off. We have bazookashop.com, which can get Bazooka merchandise, including this jersey. And we have bazookatraining.com, $9.99 a month. You're getting all of my coaching and training on one website. Bazookatraining.com, you're gonna get a home workout, bag workout, sparring drills, tutorials. That's 4 videos weekly. Each week on Monday, you get these 4 different types of videos. So if you wanna work out at home, you have a video. You have a bag at home or at your gym, you need to, supplement your training, I have that there for you. And there are 30-minute workouts you can do. So and then the tutorial section, if you're having trouble with something, I need to improve my round kick. You just watched the video and you're not using your calves. Guess what? There's videos to help you out. And this is why the Bazooka Training supplements the YouTube channel. So if you want to learn more, the detailed, the extension, the full workout behind it, bazookatraining.com. All right, keep liking, subscribing, sharing Bazooka Training and Bazooka Kickboxing with all of your friends and family, and we'll see you next week.
Over 1 year in lockdown, an empty gym, a divided community, many questions unanswered.
They're doing the best they can, trying to save their business.
But on one man's 36th birthday, he decided to fight back. Subscribe now for only $9.99 USD a month. BazookaTraining.com.